Hi, I'm Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm here with my friend Lou Steinberg, who is the founder of Authoriti. Welcome, Lou.
Thanks. Good to be here, Ed.
It's nice to see you. You came over from Hoboken, I presume.
Yeah, parked in Hoboken, took the train.
That's great. That's great. So now, real quickly, Authoriti is a company that you started recently. Is that right? It's something.
Startup? It's a startup that came out of a cybersecurity incubator that I founded after leaving TD Ameritrade.
Nice. Now, you were invited recently to talk about Authoriti on Fox Business
That's
News,
right.
That's kind of cool. How'd that go?
It went well. They're interested in all of these data breaches that they're reporting on every day. Their question was, what do we do about it? How do we prevent this and fix the problem once and for all?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on the big national spot. Now, let's go back. Let's talk about the problem. So the problem that you guys are solving is what essentially? Like, again, from a technical perspective,
Sure.
What's the issue?
So my last real job,
Yeah.
I was the CTO at TD Ameritrade, and responsible for cybersecurity and fraud. And what we noticed was that all of our security was based on, I know a secret.
Right.
I know my mother's maiden name, I know my secret password, I know the last 4 digits of a social, I know my dog's favorite flavor of ice cream, right? The problem with that model is, A, it doesn't work. The fraudsters who are going to impersonate you also know the answers to those questions, right? Social media, data breaches, the secrets are out there. B, it's not very customer friendly, right? We're constantly challenging our customers to prove themselves in order to let them do something with their own account and their own money.
Yeah. So Lou, in the context of kind of the secrets and using secrets as a basis, a lot of the technology kind of deals with kind of who you are. Like, is that how much you guys do a little differently, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. So identity theft is 2 words, right? And everybody focuses on identity.
Yeah.
We prevent the theft. So instead of who you are, we ask, what is it you're trying to do? And did you give us permission to do that? We flip the model around and put the consumer in control of each and every transaction. So they give their permission to open a new account. They give their permission to move money. They give their permission to share their data, right? It's about the what, not the who.
That seems to make sense, right? I mean, if you were establishing a policy, the fact that I let this person or that is much less important than what the activity is, right? We would call that behavior. Is behavior a term that you guys use to describe
and there is something called behavioral analytics, where we're guessing, is that really you at the other end of the transaction based on how you behave?
Is that an accurate description of what you do, or you're doing something slightly different?
We're doing something different, right? Yeah. So what we're doing is we're getting explicit authorization from you to transact. We're not guessing, is that you based on what you're doing today? We're actually getting your permission in advance before we transact.
And the we is some commerce vendor, website, someone sort of doing business on the internet?
Correct. Anybody doing business online can use an Authoriti permission code in order to get consumer authorization to share data, to open accounts, or to transact.
Yeah, that makes good sense. So from secrets, we go to the who and the what, and you guys kind of balance with a little more emphasis on what you're trying to do. Now, how do you actually implement this? Like, what is this some sort of software? Is it an app? What does it kind of look like? Like, how do people use what you're doing?
Yeah, so traditionally, what we've tried to do is we supplemented our authentication, who are you, by not only asking for a secret, but by texting you a PIN. Right? So you log into a bank or Google and they text you a PIN. And that kind of worked for a while. You play it back and they'd know it was you. But the bad guys figured out that they could intercept that PIN and pretend to be you and play it back. Turns out the PIN idea isn't wrong. It's just backwards, right? If I want your permission to do something, I shouldn't give you a PIN to give to me. I should get a PIN from you that's your permission.
I see.
So you as a consumer should be generating a PIN that authorizes me to open an account.
So you empower the end user to control policy.
Exactly.
Is that the right idea?
That is exactly it. But the magic is, because the PIN came from you, because it originated with you, it doesn't have to be random numbers and letters. You can put content in it before you send it to me. You can say, this is my account number. I am Ed Amoroso.
Okay.
Here's what I am allowing you to do for the next 15 minutes on my behalf. And then you can digitally sign it and lock the PIN so no one can change it and so that we know it came from you. Now when you give that PIN to a bank, it can only be used to do the one thing that you want to do.
Now that sounds like a lot of work for the end user. Is there an ergonomic issue, or do you do that in software somehow?
Yeah, it's all software.
What does the end user have to do?
The end user, it's actually really simple. They have an app.
You download something.
You download an app.
That's
and
it?
you set up the app one time, and we know who you are. And from that point forward, all you need to do is say, log into the app, biometrics, fingerprint, face, whatever you like, and I want to generate permission to do this with this account. You select it and generate a PIN.
I can say, I
2
don't
clicks.
want this to be used in some region or for some...
Absolutely.
You can do that.
You can limit where, you can limit who, you can limit third parties transacting on your behalf. If I wanted my kid to be able to withdraw $100 from an ATM halfway across the country, I can specify which ATM.
That is a very powerful concept. So for the end user, you're downloading the app, you're empowered to, in some sense, set policy. Now, what about on the other end? How do you convince, or maybe this is your business model, how do you convince banks and retailers and others to use it? Or is that what you guys are doing now?
That's what we're doing right now.
I see.
So we stood up a hosted web service that validates and verifies the PINs for our customers, the banks. And when a consumer gives a permission code to an institution, they can simply call us and say, here's what's being asked. Here's what they want to do. Open an account. Does this allow me to do it? Yes or no? And we will unpack the code and give them back an answer.
Wow.
And so to the user, it's simple. To the institution, it's one line of code to call us. And you can get up and running in a day.
Sounds awesome. What's been the feedback so far?
Really good, really good. We're talking, as you might imagine, to a lot of banks.
Yeah.
Valley Bank here in New York and New Jersey is rolling this out for wire transfers. But people are starting to say, can I use this for other things? Can I use this to open a new account? Can I use this to get permission to share data, right? Data privacy is becoming a big, big topic. And having explicit permission for me to give your data to someone else is important. And I need to know it came from you, and I need to know what data that I'm holding. So if I'm a healthcare provider or an insurance company, I gotta be careful about who I give what data to. And I have to have permission. Permission codes do that.
Makes sense. If I lose my phone or forget something, there's some, I guess there's probably some re-enrollment or infrastructure around.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
sure that
all
end
the
users,
security,
because you're empowering end users, there's all these crazy questions that pop up. I lose my phone, somebody grabs my phone.
Right.
I guess you just have to do the computer security around that
We do
kind
all
of
of that computer security. In order to get into the app, you have to use your fingerprint or your face.
Yeah.
And we can de-enroll, re-enroll, all that good stuff.
How about from a compliance and regulatory perspective? I'm guessing that this would, in some sense, qualify as kind of, is it a multi-factor authentication process, or where would it line up with things like NIST and so on?
So this is
probably there, I would think, right?
This is actually the next step in multi-factor authentication, is multi-factor authorization. So not, again, just who you are, but am I allowed to do this one specific transaction?
Does that show up in NIST properly?
Not yet.
It doesn't. Wow.
It's coming.
Interesting. So the multi-factor MFA, where the A means
Is
something different.
Z, not
Wow.
auth. Yes.
Hey, you got all this stuff patented?
We do have a patent
Makes
in the
good
works.
sense. I had a feeling. That is pretty spectacular. Like, it strikes me as foundationally something very new.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is to reduce friction at the same time that we reduce fraud. Because typically what we've seen is banks and institutions have had to choose between more challenges and more friction and making your life miserable to prevent cybersecurity breaches, or make it really easy for you, but it makes it really easy for the bad guys too. Yeah. And so this new approach should actually solve both problems at the same time.
So Lou, today, when someone goes about setting up a new account,
right,
like the bank or whatever, it's kind of a tedious process, but you guys maybe do a little different with your technology. Take me through what people do now and how Authoriti maybe makes that an easier process.
Yeah, so when you're opening a new account online today, as you said, it's kind of onerous. They'll ask you 20 or 30 questions. I don't know if you've opened a bank account recently. Okay, so you know. And then at the end of all of that, where you're digging through records and trying to find copies of utility bills,
right,
then they make you photocopy your driver's license, your passport, get your dog's left paw print, right? And package all that up and either take pictures of it and email it in or fax it in, and then you wait a while and they come back and say, please visit us in a branch so we can have you sign a signature card. And eventually you get to open an account. I actually opened a bank account recently. One of the big banks took 2 hours in the branch with the branch manager. And I already had an account at that bank. They knew me, right? That's not a great customer experience. No. Why are they doing it? Not because they're trying to give me a hard time. They're worried about fraudulent accounts.
Right.
With our system, when you enroll in the app the very first time, it snaps a picture of your driver's license. It takes a picture of your face. It makes you blink so it knows you're really a person. It checks all that for you. And then it packages up all that data and sends it to the bank with a signed authorization code that says, I am allowing you to open a new account using my driver's license. That's a record they have. And now they only have to ask you maybe 3 or 4 questions.
Interesting. I mean, that brick and mortar process, I can see how you guys would clearly improve the whole process. How about something like a contact or like a call center or something? If I was dealing with a call center, is it the same thing?
Yeah, so call centers today use something called IVRs, interactive voice response units, right? And that's the thing that answers the phone when you dial in that you hate. All users hate these.
I do hate those.
And why do we hate them? Well, there's a couple of problems. First, I have to keep keying in data, like my account number, and it keeps getting it wrong. And then I have to tell it what I want to do and press 1 \* **, to get to the next menu, and I can never navigate to those menus. And when I finally get to a human being, it's the wrong person. They don't know anything about all the data I've entered on my keypad for the last 20 minutes. I'm already annoyed, and the first thing they're going to do is challenge me to prove it's really me. Right? It's
sounds like you've been sitting in my kitchen listening. Right.
So I'm typically the guy that's continuously hitting the 0 button on those IVRs, just trying to get to a live person. Instead, what we've done is we've said, why not just launch the app, either our app or one of our customers' apps powered by Authoriti. Say what you want to do in the app. I want to change my mailing address, and click 1 button, connect me to a person. When the IVR sees a call come in from the Authoriti app, it automatically reaches out and checks to see if there's a legitimate signed authorization code waiting. And if there is, what does it permit? So now the IVR hasn't said anything to you yet. It knows you're Ed. It knows that you've authenticated and authorized a transaction. It knows what the transaction is, change my address.
Got it.
And it can route you directly to a human being who's empowered to do that. And they'll say, hi, Mr. Amoroso, I see you want to change your mailing address. Let's take care of that now.
That's better. You know, I want to ask you a business question.
Yeah.
You're one of the few people I know who seems to go comfortably from startups to big businesses and back.
Yeah?
How do you do it? Those are very different. I try to do it, but not as comfortably as you've done it. You've been in both.
I have.
Which do you like better? You like startup environment or you like big business better?
I like both.
Yeah.
I like them for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know, big companies have tonnage and momentum, and they can change the world simply through the force of momentum.
Yeah.
They're well funded. Small companies can change the world too because they have a better idea, a new innovation, right? So in one case, you're better resourced in order to affect change, and in the other case, you're using knowledge and agility to affect change. But I'm all about affecting change.
Yeah, no, it's quite a thing to watch. I've admired as you've gone back and forth. I think what you have here, it's authority.net would be the website that people would visit. Right. I have a feeling this one sounds like a winner to me.
There's a lot of excitement about this.
Yeah, multi-factor authorization sounds to me like a juicy enough kind of innovation that you got something here.
Thanks.
Hey, you going to come back when you guys do the big next big monster thing?
You bet.
You won't forget your friends on the way out?
Oh, would never forget you. Or on my way back down either.
Oh, well, let's hope we don't have that. I have a feeling we're not going to see much of that. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks. Great to see you again.
Great to see you. And we'll see you next time.